2. The sit-to-stand exercise. Simple but powerful, one of the most useful leg exercises after 60 may be sitting right in front of you. It is a chair. You sit down, you stand up, you sit down again. It sounds almost too simple to be called exercise. But that is exactly why the sit-to-stand movement is so valuable. It trains a movement you perform throughout the day while challenging several important muscle groups at the same time. Think about what happens when you stand from a chair. Your feet have to press into the floor. Your knees and hips extend. Your thighs and glutes produce force. Your trunk has to remain controlled while your body moves upward. In other words, a simple chair stand asks your lower body to work together as a team. And that matters because strength is not just about having strong individual muscles. It is about being able to use those muscles together. Start with a sturdy chair that does not slide. Sit toward the front of the seat with your feet positioned comfortably underneath you. Lean your upper body slightly forward, press through your feet, and stand in a controlled manner. Then slowly lower yourself back toward the chair. Notice the word controlled. The goal is not to bounce out of the chair or drop heavily into the seat. The lowering phase is part of the exercise. Your muscles have to control your body as you descend, and that controlled movement can be just as important as standing up. If standing without using your hands is difficult, that does not mean you have failed. It simply tells you where your current strength level is. You can begin by using the armrests or another stable support if appropriate. Then gradually work toward doing more of the movement under your own power. This is where the exercise becomes interesting. You can make the same basic movement easier or harder without completely changing the exercise. A higher seat generally makes standing easier. A lower seat increases the challenge. You can also change the number of repetitions, slow the movement, or eventually add appropriate resistance when your strength and technique have improved. That gives you something extremely valuable: progression. You do not need to begin with an advanced exercise. You begin with what you can control, then gradually ask your muscles to do a little more. But there is another reason chair stands deserve attention. They have a direct connection to independence. Imagine being able to stand from a dining chair without struggling. Getting out of a car becomes easier. Rising from the toilet becomes easier. Standing from the couch becomes less of a production. These are not abstract fitness achievements. They are movements that can determine how freely you move through your day. Of course, exercise should match the individual. If you have significant pain, dizziness, balance problems, or a medical condition affecting movement, it is wise to get appropriate professional guidance before increasing your exercise. The bigger lesson is simple. You do not need complicated equipment to challenge your legs. Sometimes the best exercise is one that resembles the movements you already need to perform. A chair stand may look ordinary, but performed consistently and progressively, it can become a powerful foundation for lower body strength, because getting stronger is not really about performing impressive exercises. It is about making ordinary life easier. If you want stronger legs after 60, there is another simple movement worth paying attention to: the step up. Why? Because life is full of you climb stairs at home, you step onto a curb, you walk up a small incline, you get onto a bus or step into a doorway. These movements require your legs to lift your body upward while maintaining balance and control. A step-up exercise trains a similar pattern. The idea is remarkably simple. You place one foot on a stable low step, press through that leg, and bring your body upward. Then you lower yourself back down with control and repeat. You can alternate legs or perform several repetitions on one side before switching. But don't confuse simplicity with weakness. When you step upward, your thighs, glutes, calves, and stabilizing muscles have to cooperate. Your body must produce enough force to lift you while your balance system keeps you organized. That combination makes step-ups particularly useful for functional strength. And there is an important principle here. Height is not the goal. Control is the goal. A common mistake is choosing a step that is too high because it looks more challenging. But if you have to lean dramatically forward, twist your body, push excessively from the trailing leg, or lose your balance, the exercise has become more complicated than necessary. Start with a low, stable platform. If necessary, position yourself near a sturdy support that you can hold for balance. The support is not a sign of weakness. It can allow you to practice the movement while gradually developing confidence and control. Place one foot securely on the step. Keep your movement deliberate. Press through the working leg and bring your body upward. Then slowly lower yourself back down. That last part deserves attention. The downward movement is not simply the time between repetitions. Your muscles have to control your body as you descend. Moving slowly can make a relatively small step surprisingly challenging. As your ability improves, you can gradually increase the number of repetitions or make other appropriate adjustments. There is no need to rush. Think of strength as a conversation between your brain and your muscles. Your brain says, "We need to go up." Your leg muscles respond, "We can handle it." Then your balance system says, "And we need to stay stable while doing it." That is what makes functional exercise so valuable. You are not merely strengthening a muscle in isolation. You are practicing coordinated movement. Step-ups can also reveal differences between your legs. Perhaps one side feels stronger or more stable than the other. That information can be useful because everyday life rarely gives you perfect symmetry. You may have to push off one leg while stepping around an obstacle or climbing stairs. Still, more difficult does not automatically mean better. After 60, the goal should be sustainable progress. A low step performed with excellent control can be more useful than an aggressive high step that compromises technique. And remember, exercise should be adapted to the individual. If you have significant balance problems, pain, dizziness, or another condition affecting your ability to exercise safely, appropriate professional guidance is important. The lesson is straightforward. You don't need to jump, run, or perform complicated movements to challenge your legs. Sometimes you simply need to practice stepping upward with control, because strong legs are not only about what you can do inside a workout. They are about what your legs allow you to do when you walk through the world. When people talk about stronger legs after 60, they often focus on the large muscles at the front of the thighs. But your legs are not a collection of isolated parts. They are a system. Your calves, hips, and glutes all contribute to walking, standing, climbing stairs, and maintaining stability. That is why two simple exercises deserve more attention: calf raises and hip bridges. Let's start with the calves. Stand behind a sturdy chair or near another stable support. Slowly raise your heels so that you come onto the balls of your feet. Pause briefly, then lower your heels back toward the floor under control. That's a calf raise. It looks almost ridiculously simple, but your calf muscles are involved every time you push off the ground while walking. They also contribute to maintaining stability when your body shifts forward and backward. Now imagine that you regularly train those muscles to produce force through a controlled range of motion. You are not simply exercising for the sake of exercise. You are practicing one of the basic actions your body uses every day. The key is control. Don't bounce rapidly up and down. Rise smoothly, pause, and lower deliberately. If balance is a concern, keep a hand on a sturdy support. The support allows you to focus on the movement rather than worrying about falling. Now let's move upward to the hips. Your glutes are among the strongest muscles in your body, and they play an important role in extending the hips and helping stabilize your pelvis. One simple way to train them is the hip bridge. Lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet positioned comfortably on the floor. From there, gently press through your feet and lift your hips until your body forms a comfortable line from your shoulders toward your knees. Then slowly lower your hips back down. Again, the movement looks simple, but simplicity is not the same thing as uselessness. Your glutes have to work to extend the hips, while your trunk and other muscles help keep the movement controlled. If you perform the exercise slowly rather than throwing your hips upward, you can make a basic movement much more demanding. And there is a deeper lesson here. As we age, we don't want to think only about individual muscles. We want to think about function. Your calves help you push off the ground. Your glutes help you extend your hips. Your thighs help you straighten your knees. Your hips help stabilize your body. Together, these muscles contribute to the movements that keep you mobile. That is why a balanced leg routine can be more useful than obsessing over one exercise. You could perform chair stands to practice getting up. You could use step-ups to practice moving upward. You could use calf raises to train the muscles involved in pushing off the ground. And you could use hip bridges to strengthen the muscles around the hips. None of these movements requires an elaborate gym, but they do require consistency. Start with a level that you can perform comfortably and with good control. Gradually increase repetitions or resistance as your ability improves. You don't need to exhaust yourself every session. Your muscles respond to appropriate challenge followed by recovery. And remember, if lying on the floor is difficult, balance is poor, or you experience pain or other concerning symptoms, choose an appropriate modification and consider getting guidance from a qualified health or exercise professional. The big idea is simple. Strong legs aren't created by training only the muscles everyone notices. They are built by strengthening the entire movement system. Because when you walk, climb, stand, or change direction, your calves and hips don't work alone. They work together with everything else. After 60, building stronger legs does not require turning every workout into a test of endurance. In fact, the smarter approach is often the opposite. You want exercises that are challenging enough to stimulate your muscles, but simple enough that you can perform them consistently and recover from them. Think of your leg routine as a small system rather than a collection of random exercises. You might begin with chair stands. They train the basic ability to rise from a seated position. Then, you could use step-ups to challenge your legs while practicing a movement similar to climbing stairs. Add calf raises to strengthen the muscles involved in pushing off the ground, and hip bridges to train the glutes and hips. Now you have something important. Variety without unnecessary complexity. The next principle is progression. Your body adapts to challenges. If you perform exactly the same movement with exactly the same difficulty forever, eventually the exercise may stop providing enough stimulus to encourage further improvement. But progression does not necessarily mean adding huge amounts of weight. You might perform an additional repetition. You might increase the range of motion when appropriate. You might slow the lowering phase. You might use slightly more resistance. Or you might simply improve your technique and control. Small improvements count. Imagine starting with 5 controlled chair stands. After several weeks, perhaps you can comfortably perform 8. Eventually, you may reach 10 or 12 with good technique. That is progress. You don't need to compare your numbers with someone else's. Your goal is to improve from your own starting point. Another important piece is balance. Strength and balance are not identical, but they work together. Strong muscles are useful, yet you also need to control your body while standing and moving. That's why exercises should be performed with attention to stability and body position. If an exercise requires support, use it. A sturdy chair, countertop, or other appropriate support can provide reassurance while you develop strength and confidence. There is no prize for making an exercise unnecessarily dangerous. Then comes recovery. This is something people sometimes overlook. Exercise provides the challenge, but recovery gives your body the opportunity to adapt. Your muscles need time to repair and respond. Sleep, adequate nutrition, and sensible spacing between demanding sessions all matter. More exercise is not automatically better. The best routine is one you can repeat week after week. And that brings us to the most important ingredient: consistency. A complicated workout performed twice and abandoned is less useful than a simple routine performed regularly for months. You don't need to feel destroyed after every session. You need to give your muscles a reason to become stronger while respecting your body's current abilities. And remember that age does not mean you should stop challenging yourself. It means you should become more thoughtful about how you challenge yourself. Your workout should match your ability, not someone else's. If you have significant joint pain, balance difficulties, dizziness, recent injuries, or medical conditions that affect exercise, getting individualized advice from an appropriate healthcare or exercise professional is sensible before changing your routine. So, put the entire idea together. Chair stands for getting up, step-ups for climbing, calf raises for pushing off, hip bridges for the hips and glutes, Gradual progression for continued adaptation, recovery for rebuilding, consistency for long-term results. That is the smarter approach. Because the goal after 60 isn't to perform the most impressive exercise in the gym. The goal is to build legs that continue to serve you in ordinary life, to stand when you want to stand, walk where you want to walk, climb the stairs with confidence, and remain as independent as possible. Strong legs are not built in one heroic workout. They are built through hundreds of ordinary sessions where you simply show up and give your body the right challenge.